People may be dead, double the official death toll right now. And we're also told that 9,500 people in a single town in Japan, right now they are listed as missing. And the aftershocks keep coming roughly every 3 hours. Many people in Japan are said to be walking around scared, scarred, and dazed. Some are even wearing helmets. 6 million households don't have any power, and growing fears of food and gas shortages. We want to welcome our viewers in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. We want to immediately get reaction, though, to the breaking news that we're following right now. The Japanese ambassador to the United States, Ichiro Fujisaki, is here with us. You heard the story. Let me repeat it for you, Mr. Ambassador, because I know you speak for the Japanese government. A meltdown may be underway at one of Fukushima's Daiichi nuclear power reactors. An official with the Japan's Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency told CNN. What can you tell us about this, Mr. Ambassador?
Chief Cabinet Secretary of Japan has made an announcement in the press conference about this issue. There was a concern about this reactor. We have confirmed that there was a blow-up, but it was not a blow-up of reactor nor container. It was a blow-up of the outer building. So there was no leakage of radioactive material. And we are now trying to cope with the situation by putting water into that reactor. Yeah, salt water into the reactor. And there are some other issues with other reactors as well, which needs some of also injection of water or taking out vapor because of increasing pressure into the container. And we are now working on it.
But is it fair to say, Mr. Ambassador, yes, that a meltdown may be underway at this nuclear power reactor?
We do not see any evidence of that at this juncture.
Of a meltdown?
No.
And your information is based as only moments ago, a few hours ago. How up to date is the information that you have?
We are getting information every hour on this issue.
Every hour they're calling Washington, they're briefing you on what's going on. Because a meltdown, as you know, is a catastrophic failure of the reactor core, which could spew out radiation, which would be devastating.
Yes, I know that there was concern about this first reactor that you have said, and so we have made a research into that and still working on it, but what our government has announced is that, no, it was a blow-up of outer building.
Would you call it a meltdown?
No.
You would not call it a meltdown?
No.
What would you call it?
It was I would say that there was a pressure from vapor coming out of a container to blow up the outer building. We are now working out so that melting will not happen. There was a part melt of fuel rod. Melting of fuel rod.
Yeah.
There was a part of that.
A part of that?
Yes, but it was nothing like a reactor, whole reactor melting down.
All right, I want you to hold on for a moment because Gene Meserve, our Homeland Security correspondent, is also getting new information on what's going on. What are you learning, Gene?
Well, I'm curious to hear what the ambassador is saying here, because I've talked to a number of nuclear experts this afternoon who said the information that's coming in is conflicting. It's not complete. It's hard for people who aren't on the scene to figure out exactly what's happening at that reactor. Clearly, it's a very grave situation. Clearly, they've been pushing on this seawater and the boron. Boron is supposed to help stop the nuclear reaction in an effort to try and cool this plant down. But one expert earlier today called it a Hail Mary sort of approach, an indication that the Japanese were coming to the bottom of their toolbox here. But I have no information apart from what we've reported from this Japanese official with the Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency and what we have the ambassador saying, which is contradictory. I can't tell you exactly where we are in terms of the meltdown situation, Wolf.
That's a good point, Jean, and let me bring the ambassador back in. There is conflicting information coming out. So what I hear you saying is everyone should just pause a little bit and wait to get the accurate information. It's now already Sunday morning in Japan, so it's daylight. People are working.
And we are working every minute, every second in order to have the situation under control. And as I said, there's two types, putting water and also taking out vapor.
Because when she says, Jean, this is a Hail Mary maneuver, that's a term, and some of our viewers around the world may not appreciate it. It's almost an act of desperation right now because all of the regular systems failed, not necessarily as a result of the earthquake, but as a result of the tsunami that put that whole power plant basically underwater and killed those coolant capabilities.
So we had to put in, because there was not enough clear water at that time, we had to put in seawater, as you have said, and also boric acid, and we are working on this. And they have filled in the tank with these water and now trying to measure it.
When will we know for sure whether this is going to be resolved okay, or when it could be, and we hope there won't be, another Chernobyl?
We're working on it, as I said, every minute, every second, but I do not have the capacity to tell you what time, what exact time that we can have an assurance that this will not develop in an adverse manner. But I think at the moment, we do not have any evidence that it is going to worsen. We are putting all efforts to control the matter.
I want to bring Jean back into this. Jean, what else are you picking up?
Well, just to add that although the meltdown, if it is occurring, is a very serious development, there is a containment system here, and it was built specifically in the case of some sort of catastrophic failure to make sure there was not a radiological release. The hope is that that's intact, that it will hold, that the pressure won't build up too much, and that it will be able to keep things under control. But I just wanted to throw in here that the meltdown doesn't necessarily relate automatically to a release.
And as I said also, the radioactive material, the number is decreasing, and that was also made public by
Tens of thousands of people, though, have been evacuated from an area within 20 kilometers or 12 miles from this facility.
Exactly. In order to cope with the situation, what is most important is to try to take most cautious attitude, and that is what exactly the government is doing.
What else are you doing to help these people? I don't know how many people altogether. I've heard 70,000, 80,000, 100,000. How many people have been forced to leave their homes out of a precaution because of potential radiation?
I do not have the exact number of how many people, because because it has been expanding. First, we said 3 kilometers, 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, and we are taking a most cautious measure.